Let's rock and shit, you know what I'm saying? Let's rock. Clouds coming in. Do a little live here real quick. Hey, I'm not renewing my StreamYard. I am not renewing my StreamYard. I'm going to take a different tact, a different approach heading into 2025. I've really dropped off in my reading and just not getting enough shit done. I like doing them, but man, it's just, I don't want to say it's a waste of time because it's fun to get on and talk to people, but not that fun. I got shit to do. I've been weightlifting. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Yeah. Come up here to Athens. Let's get a nice thing. I got to get more. There's things I want to accomplish, and I can't do them fucking off all the time. You know what I'm saying? I want to have some visitors down here. Hey, I was telling you the other day I only had 3 good friends worth of fuck my whole life. I thought one that's on the back burner, but he's about ready to get elevated to number 4, and that's Ken, who I met through YouTube. He lives in Michigan. Great guy. We went to Mackinac a year ago, June. One of the few guys I actually look forward to getting together with. We party. We both like strippers, prostitutes, escorts, dirty magazines, and porno movies. The spirit pricks our heart. But he's a guy you can count on, Ken. And I have good acquaintances, too, that I met through YouTube. The females, of course, J-Bo. No one's even close. What you think you want and what you really want and what you end up getting. 3 majorly different areas in your life. I've created a psychological triangle and made happiness goddamn near impossible. Long term, that is. I've done it myself. Through a mixture of genes, life experience, porn addiction, lox bagels, ghetto cruisers, and an obsession with knowledge. I've really been going hog wild with these books lately. Just read these, but I want to know this stuff. I'm fucking nuts. And it does pay off. Now lately, my latest thing is lunar calendar. I'm really into this moon thing. I'm reading this book. It's so good. And the moon's where I'm going to like put my interest. I was on to Mars a while. But the moon, man, that's really running the whole show, believe it or not. And without that 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth, you wouldn't be seeing any of this shit. No tides. The sun wrecked my skin. The moon illuminated the night. I mean, who wouldn't just love the moon? Read about this. Without the moon, this place would not be shit. And without that 23.5 degree tilt, there'd be no seasons. And I'll tell you something else that's hard. Unless you got some freak brain, if you're just like below average intelligence, like me, poor student his whole life, things don't always come that easy. And when you look at like sunrises and sunsets and the moon twirling around and you're twirling around, you're going around the sun, that really, and everything's round. That's what really throws the ringer into the whole thing. Everything's round. Hey, John. Yeah, it was excellent. Hey, Zoggy. Who is America's greatest ally? I would have to say, that is an excellent question. Let me think about this for a second. Who would be our greatest ally? Boy, that's a good one, man. Who would be? I'd say the UK. I'd have to say the UK. Believe it or not. Canada too, but I'm just thinking of the overall population. And, if you look at NATO and you look at the help in the world wars, that is a good question. And why? Because they see things the way we do. They're not communists. They believe in a Republican form of government, democracy, sort of. Sort of, I say, not counting the socialist medicine, the king and queen. Right to happiness. Yeah, that's a good one, boy. You got me thinking on that one. So Real TV. Oh, how you doing, man? Yeah, I had locks. It was really good. I'll tell you, man. I come up here to Athens, Georgia, and there's something. If I probably will never move again, although I've said that the last 3 times. I just like being around college towns. I don't feel like such an old man. And in this place in Athens, you could like have hard times at like my age, and I could come in here and I could get a job like washing dishes at a restaurant, and everybody still like treats you like they don't, it's really like that. And I knock liberals and stuff, and that's true. And I'm not saying they're all bad. There are things that I like about them, and that is that books that get published that wouldn't get published otherwise, for the underdog. I don't care about the sex bullshit. It's just I don't like the way they vote to run the economy. That's the real beef I have. And how they just think it's a free lunch for everybody. But these liberal towns, even though like a lot of things, well, not really a lot of things. Some of the things I just can't get over. I like the college atmosphere. They're all the same. I've been to tons of them. Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Purdue, all the MAC schools. I could come up here, I could get a job washing dishes, and they could like not think I was just some loser old man like I would if I got one in like an area I was from in West Branch. You probably wouldn't get anybody to talk to you, and I like that part about it. Oh, it is absurd. Yeah, no, that is absurd. It's the moon, though, Richard. Definitely is. It is absurd. That's why I've my new coined phrase that I thought when I took a Benadryl and a melatonin at the same time and was kind of like half awake at 3 in the morning. My new go-to word for what you just said is the drop ceiling of reality. Drop ceilings. You know what a drop ceiling is. You go into somebody's basement. The basement looks like shit. You put up this like crappy, real lightweight shit that probably has asbestos or fiberglass in it. Then you put the real shitty, like opaque looking clear plastic things that are always cracked. And then you get the long tube fluorescent lights that really don't light anything up at all. That's a drop ceiling. And you said the absurdity of it all. That's true. I guess you're probably into philosophy. You're right about that. And I just think the whole thing is a drop ceiling. The perception of reality. It's one big fake drop ceiling. And when you take that down, you really see the wires and the chipped paint and the bird's nests and the rat's nests and the cockroaches running around. The whole thing is a drop ceiling. The real. Why? Yeah, well, that's what I said, yeah. I think it's because they're willing to help us when communism, when North Korea fucks with us, when China flexes its muscle, when Putin, what a nut job. I'm telling you, man, I'm a firm believer in this too. The more guns, the more bombs, from a national security point, the better. I'll tell you, if we didn't have all this shit, you look at history and you look at like the planets and stuff, and I just get that you look at the United States, it got such a late start. And now it's the place to live, even with its problems. And what's keeping that going, even though it could be better, I know, is our military presence. Trump already said you let those hostages go, you're going to be waking up to a bomb in the morning. I'm all for that. It's unfortunate. It's too bad we can't smoke a peace pipe and put a flower in an AK-47. But it really doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. So as I said earlier, I am not renewing my StreamYard. I am not renewing it. I blow too much time on StreamYard. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not saying I won't do a YouTube one now. And honestly, I was thinking about this driving up here today, although hey Susan, I already thought thought this. When I got a notice yesterday, do you want to renew your StreamYard? It's like, no, I don't. And the more I thought about it, is actually I think I'd just like to. I'm going to go back to if I do them, which I'm going to try not to do those as well. I'm going to just go back to the YouTube ones because getting people up there talking and stuff isn't ever what it could be. It's a great idea. But this way, I'll be the only guy talking. And you'll have to type your answers, which sucks, which is what I thought I wanted to get away from. But the more lives I do, the more that I want to go back to that. I'll tell you another thing, too. YouTube is really fucking with my channel. I know they want to get rid of me. And if they do, they do. If they do, it's been fun. I just don't fit like suitable advertising anymore, even though I'm not monetized. So basically, why am I on there? I'm sure that's what they ask themselves. I'm always talking about like stuff that I get it too. It's their platform. Either you go along with it or you don't. And I appreciate YouTube. And if I was running YouTube, I wouldn't want guys like me around either. Because I just don't want to go on there and keep topics vanilla. I just talk a lot of shit. I make innuendos about sexual persuasion. Can't do that shit anymore, really. And I wouldn't do it either if I had a job, a family, or I was running for office. Be careful what you wish for. Because I got a place I could speak my mind, and it's haunting me on my social media platform. It's the old adage, yeah, free speech, that's true, but what are the consequences? I get warnings and fucking can't leave comments for a day or two. And sometimes I think, too, maybe they're right. Maybe all this shit I talk is just wrong. It's hard to, I can't look at things objectively. Oh, you too, Susan. I hope we can party all night some night. Oh, the Middle East. Yeah, no, I don't like that part about it. That's a good question, the crime. It's something probably high, to tell you the truth. Fucking crime's crazy everywhere. The only place where there's no crime, or little crime, is a place like I live, where there's nothing left to steal. There's no jobs. You'd look so obvious coming over to my house. I get like 3 cars down the road a month. I just got lucky getting down here. Just total luck. Really, I didn't even know places like this existed only 90 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. And like I've said, I've lived down here before. And I hated it. But sometimes I get like a warm and fuzzy feeling that I'm going to die down here. Because I know I'm going to die anyway in about 10 or 15 years. Maybe 20 at the latest, I hope. God, I don't want to be one of these old motherfuckers in a convalescent home. And I'm fine with it. And the way the world's going, it's crazy. I'm glad I'm not young. That's how bad things are. I look at these young, cute girls up here in Athens, and I think, God, it's not worth it being your age. And I date these grannies, these walking corpses. I go through Match.com, and sometimes I think, God, I got some vitamin gummies, and sometimes I wonder if I reached into the wrong jar. And I reached into one with THC in it by mistake instead of A, B, C, D, E, zinc. And I swallowed it because when I'm looking through a dating site, I think to myself, why am I getting so many funeral announcements? And then dawns on me. This is a dating site of people your age. They're not dead. They're alive. And then I think to myself, well, yeah, I gotta. Does anybody have any helpful hints out there on me appreciating the virtue of an older woman? Because I really struggle with it. I do. I just want to take around a woman and everybody says, wow, how in the hell did you pull that off? Instead of saying to me, hey, I saw you and your mom eating lunch the other day. It's like, that's not my mom, that's my girlfriend. And the unfortunate part of that is I'm thinking the same thing they are. Matter of fact, my mom looked younger. Holy Christ. Below Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been a little bit in Jackson. I lived down in West Palm Beach for 5 miserable years. I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. And it's worse now than it's ever been. I see they're building a new skyscraper there of condos downtown. 1 million to 4 million. You'd have to be out of your fucking mind to pay $4 million to live in a place like that. That place sucks, man. So glad to got left that place. Jacksonville. Susan, where are you? Where are you at? It's the moon. No, the moon matters, Richard. No, I know. I'm proud. You're bragging again, Terry. Terry's got a wife that's 18 years younger. God. Lucky fucker. Everything. First of all, it's not worth the price they get for property down there. Taxes, crime, homeless. The fucking traffic, man. Holy shit. You get broiled from about April all the way through November. I don't really even count in hurricanes. The people that live there are worse than any hurricane could ever dream of being. Oh, thank you. Oh, Torrance, California. Oh, from Michigan. Oh, okay. Oh, good. What part of Michigan you from, Susan? Yeah, I have to bargain hunt. I've never been in there. Hey, today, Barnes& and Noble, 1/3 off plus premium members like me, another 10%. So guess where I'm at? Fucking Barnes& and Noble. I'm going to chew their ass out today because, I'm a premium member. Not that that's any big fucking deal. It's like $40 a year. But these motherfuckers are offering 1/3 off to somebody that's not even a member today. But they got some Jew in the accounting office that's smart enough to realize, hey, if we just let every Tom, Dick, and Harry come in here and get 1/3 off, how about the premium members like that dumbass that lives down in Crawfordville, Tom Reed? And another Jew says, good point. Let's give him another 10%. Well, the 10% is off the discounted rate. And I should be held in higher regard for keeping this fucking place in business. I buy books here that I could get for 1/3 of what I pay them, and they're not treating me right. And I'm going to discuss it with the manager today. I'm going to say, do not renew my membership. I am not stupid. Hey, PJT. Oh, this is not Miranda, is it? God, you look like Miranda. Oh, Saginaw. Oh, good for you, Susan. Yeah, insurance is nuts. No, it's absolutely right. Insurance was a lot down there when I was down there, and that was fucking 98. I got out of there. This is, as I gotten older, I got smarter. When I left 98, I got a one-way ticket to Chicago. Never even been there. I was at the airport once, and the museum threw a taxi cab on a lobster I donated to an aquarium. But other than that, I never went there, even though I was only 5 hours from there. And I got a one-way ticket to Chicago. Just closed for a week. Rented. Stayed in a hotel. rented, and then bought a place. And my dumb ass actually thought then, boy, this is it. You got another bite at the apple. You're starting over. And it was great for, I'd say, about 6 years. But it's easy to get sick of living downtown Chicago. That place sucks now. You couldn't give me a place. The Magnificent Mile, which was just gorgeous when I lived there, is just a war zone now of liberal carnage. Boarded up windows, stores out of business. I knew when the borders closed, I was fucked. Third of the restaurants are done, maybe a half. Traffic. You're paying tons of money for high crime. So I went back to Michigan. That lasted. Everything seems to last about 12 years for me. I don't know if I'll make this next 12 years one. It might be tits up. Time will tell. Oh, yeah, that's it, right. Hey, Sammy. Oh, thank you. I'll definitely check that out. Actually, I'm going to take a screenshot of that now. I'm not religious at all. I mean, I think, honestly, anybody that's religious, you just, you must not read. You don't believe in science. I mean, I don't want to, it's very difficult to talk to somebody if you're like me about religion and not insult them. And I don't want to insult people. I just hope I get away when they ask me what church do I go to. I say I'm not religious, and I hope that works, because if not, I'm going to end up pissing them off. Now, you could say, well, they asked for it, but I'd be glad to debate religion with anybody any day about any facet of it, from how old the earth is, to prayer, to immaculate conception, to resurrection, the whole 9 yards. Bits and pieces of God's holy word. Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, PJT, you're not Miranda, are you? God, you look just like Miranda, the girl I used to interview. Wonder how she's doing nowadays. I'll tell you, to this day, and I should get an honorary PhD from someplace for the 7 or 8 years I spent in Detroit. I learned so much. I'm so happy and thankful for it. And really, to this day, I can't think of a worse life than a drug-addicted prostitute that's on heroin in a big city. I think it's worse than 4-stage cancer. Because with that, you got a timeline. You may be like Becky and keep living, or Maddie. Oh my God. Talk about hell on earth. And you know it's hell, but you don't want anything different. This fucking sucks, man. I mean, I think being a drug addicted prostitute is like 3 times worse than being chronically depressed often. Hey, Dancing Queen, or Amber. Yeah. Or Amber, that's so true. I think sometimes, like, I think of that, yeah, Amber, you just think, oh my God, man. It's like wolf in sheep's clothing comes to mind. Just a pretty girl, just a killer head of hair, beautiful head of hair, cute, and just having babies accidentally, and just the whole life of chaos that never gets better. It's mystery. It's a good question. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I really kind of lost touch with those people. I did get a thing from a guy. He still goes down. He delivers. He donates his time to some soup kitchen, and he cuts down Michigan Avenue. It's all different there. I mean, I'm going to go back there this year. Uh, I probably won't even go down there. I just don't see any reason why. just for stupid views, because I know everything I wanted to know. Nothing's new. It's not fun. No, I know, it's so sad. Yeah, it's really sad. But Maddie's a sweet girl, actually. Yeah, just to see that whole thing happen. You know, people are so cruel, though. Maddie is really, it probably is unaware of the service she's provided based on her lifestyle and appearance, because it's given thousands of people a chance to see how cruel and mean people are and the comments they make to her. The savagery. You see the comments they make about her? It just shows you wouldn't think there were that many of those people around until you witness it for yourself. Just people are really weird. Yeah, I did, Terry, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, a lot of those girls, I counted up one night laying in bed. I think of the people that I interviewed that you knew of. I think there's like 15 of them dead. That's a lot. And, of the ones that are alive, 20% of them fucked up, hit by cars, damage from hepatitis C, God knows what else. I occasionally get emails from somebody that knew Allie as a housewife in the suburb. Said how beautiful she was and what a nice family she had. And got divorced and it all went south after that. Now, she eventually got back to her mother in Indiana and died of organ failure as a complication of HIV that I don't really know if it morphed into full-blown AIDS or not. I don't know, but I know that's why she died. I think it was kidney failure. God damn, man. I mean, here you are, just a regular person, and you're taking a vitamin every day, and then you look at their life. My God. Yeah. A dad died. The dad died. Nah, that's going back to family, that ship sailed. I think in a way, I don't know this for sure, but I think some of these people, and maybe in Maddie's case, that every day they're going to make sure they're not going to go back to their family, and that's what keeps them going. I mean, that's fucked up logic, but there's something to it. They just keep on digging a hole until you couldn't go back even if you wanted to. That bridge has been burned. Because back in the early days, when I didn't know anything, there was a girl that went to high school with Maddie. It was very nice. I had met her one time down there. We met. Really nice girl, and they tried their ass off. A bunch of them got together. They'd take care packages to Maddie, and they offered him places to live, and really were really good friends that kind of came out of the woodwork as, I think, old schoolmates. And they said she would not do it. And they all basically just gave up. And then there was that one girl I was talking to. Remember Sue? Now, I wouldn't say, anything that I did down there was like nothing. I don't take credit for anything because I didn't really do anything. Yeah, I took them some food or gave them $10 or some stupid shit like that. But then the whole scheme of things of really helping, I didn't do anything. Believe me, I've never taken credit. But one day I was down there interviewing Marguerite, and she called herself Sue, but that wasn't her real name. Cute girl. And a couple days later, you guys might know this, but I'm saying this in case you don't. A couple days later, uh, her sister-in-law contacted me through email. And I don't remember if she brought it up. I think I brought it up, but I could be wrong on this. Either way, I said, hey, do me a favor. Or she said to me, do me a favor. I don't know how it went down, but I said, do you think you could just, write a letter? I won't read it. It's not my business. Seal it in an envelope and send it to me, and I will deliver it to her. Because they would go down there and look for her, and they could never find her, or maybe they did find her and she ran into a building, something like that. And either way, the letter was produced by her and her husband, who was Sue's brother. And they sent it to me, and I got it, and I would never open it in a million years, not my business. And if you look in that one time I was interviewing her and Marguerite, I said, hey, I got something from you. This was sent by your brother and sister-in-law, and I handed it to her, and she read it. I was sitting there, and she didn't say anything. I didn't want to ask about it. I didn't want to make it part of the video. And 2 days later, she left that lifestyle based on whatever they said in that letter. And I thought, wow, this is great. Don't know the details, but whatever it was worked, which I'm happy for. And then there was another one that I did a view. She was going with the guy Jason, and I interviewed her and Jeannie at the same time. And Jason was kind of a nice looking guy, and they were together, and they had a baby, and he was a good guy, really. She was too. And everything was going great, and she was working, I think, at Chrysler, and he was doing landscaping, subcontracting work for the city of Ann Arbor. And he came up missing one day. Well, you know what that usually means to a heroin addict. And they found him and another girl dead in a bando from an overdose. And there were a couple times where I would, what was her name? Country. She went by the name Country. Amanda. There were a couple times when she was making a comeback and doing YouTube things, and she always kind of gave me the cold shoulder, which is fine. That's all right. I had the same thing happen with Marguerite's daughter, who's a nice girl, real pretty girl. And they had sent me, remember, I got a photo album of Marguerite when she was younger. And what the deal was is they send me the photo album, and I'm going to meet the daughter to give her the thing back, the album back. And every time I'd be down there, I'd text her, and I'd never hear from her. I'd call, never hear from her. And then she made a couple comments on videos about, God, she wished she wouldn't have lent me the album. She doesn't know if she's ever going to give it. And this is why I'm actively trying to meet up with her while I'm there. And it pissed me the fuck off. And I ended up telling her, hey, look, if you'd have done what you were supposed to do, you'd have had this album 10 times ago. About 8 months after that, I called her one day to talk about Marguerite. She said, let me call you right back, and I never heard from her. So there have been instances before where I don't really know what happened. They just, who knows? I don't know. Hey, waiting. Yeah. I don't think they want to go back. I think there are people like Becky and Maddie. At least Becky's told me that. Maddie, her behavior, basically, they don't want to go back. They know that any day it's tits up. And they're going to go down swinging. And as crazy as it sounds, they don't want to get better. That's something for an illusion, a delusion, someone that isn't addicted thinks. You think that success in a stint in rehab so they could get like you are is success, and that's not success to them at all. Success is the roulette wheel of fentanyl. I've known instances where girls lived together, one died, and the other one was trying to find the drug dealer the next day to chase the high, was willing to take the risk on dying like the roommate did. That's how powerful it is. It's crazy. Fucking nuts. Yeah, I don't want, that doesn't interest me anymore. I've talked to a lot of, like, over that time, people that were rehab counselors, ran Suboxone clinics, and it burned them all out eventually. Halfway houses. It just seems like that's the lot in life for some people sometimes. That's the way it's going to be. It's not going to get better because you got to want to get better, and many of them don't. Jeez. And of the 15 that I interviewed that are dead, I'm sure if I'd have kept interviewing, there'd be another 15 dead. And if I went down and started it again tomorrow, there'd be 15 more dead in that same time period looking forward. It's just a bad, depressing, not fun thing to do. I was actually dumb enough to think I'd help them out of there. Naive. Crazy. Well, you guys, I'm going to go in here and satisfy my addictions for books. 30, a third off today. And if you're a premium member, another 10%. I'd have walked up here if I'd had to. There's a book I have in mind on the Sierra Nevadas. Fascinating mountain range. Helps a lot of airplanes crash. Idiots with underpowered, non-pressurized planes trying to make it over the top. It's a hell of a gene pool eliminator. Aviation's a great gene pool eliminator. It just allows people to get in a plane, go out and kill themselves and not produce offspring. Motorcycles too. Sober 20 years. Wow. Congratulations, Susan. Oh, well, I'm happy for you. Yeah. Well, you guys have a good day today. Got a nice day here. Actually, I like these days. It rained like hell this morning. Big line of thunderstorms. They came all the way from, I don't, they were probably before that, but I saw them in Birmingham, Alabama the day before. It actually was a slower line of storms than they thought, but it was the same storms. Came all the way from Birmingham, Alabama. Came through about 7 o'clock this morning. They woke me up and I stayed up because I wanted to enjoy them. Rained like a son of a bitch for about 35 minutes. But you know, I've been keeping track of the rain for about the last 6 months. And it's always a lot less than you think. Here's the rule of thumb on rain. In order to get this crazy rain with flooding, it needs to be sustained, long time. Even though it rained hard for 35 minutes, and you thought, my God, but there's going to be water all over the place. Well, we got an inch. I suckered Marty into the weather quiz this morning. I said, hey, you heard that rain? He said, yeah, I did. I said, how much rain do you think we got? He said, 4 inches. It's like one. Yeah, home built planes. Yeah, once you get out of a certified airplane, one that's certified, you have to go through a regimen of tests and certification, make sure the wings don't come off, the engine works, all that shit. Once you get into home built, paragliders, ultralights, all that shit, the death rate just skyrockets. Non-certified planes, plenty of guys pull the wings off, tear the tail off. They try and do aerobatics in them and they're not stressed for that. And the glide ratio on an ultralight is just horrid. If you ever see an ultralight lose power, they got to push the nose damn practically straight down because there's so much drag. They're at a 45-degree angle. And then because there's so much drag, the second you flare, you don't have much airspeed left because it's so drag induced. So you better do it right. And if you don't, either you're going to pile into the ground going too fast or you're going to stall because you flared too soon and you're 20 feet over the air and you roll it over and crash anyway. They're dangerous. Yeah, you're right, Susan. Oh, thank you. Hi, Faye. Well, I know how John Denver died. I know everything about that, actually. John Denver died by, it's an odd thing. He bought a long ease, a very ease version, home built with a canard wing in front. You know, he didn't have a valid pilot's license when he died either. Well, once again, with home built airplanes, for some reason, the guy that built it, now you can do all the modifications you want. For some reason, the guy that built it didn't want the fuel selector valve underneath his legs in the pilot seat. And believe it or not, that was a 4-seat airplane. He put the fuel selector valve right in between the rear seats. So when you switch tanks, you had to reach back there. Fucking nuts. So John Denver just bought that thing. They did a couple touch and goes together. And then he said, well, you're on your own. You know, he had a heavy drinking problem, which is why he didn't have a active pilot's license. So John Denver took off, and he was going to do a couple more touch and goes before he headed somewhere else. And this is not uncommon. When you're flying small twin engine planes, it's not uncommon to hear the engine start to quit. You just flip the tank. It's not like daredevil stuff. A lot of people do it. You'll start hearing the engine running rough. You know you're getting low. And you just switch the tank and it fires right up again. It's no big deal. Well, the engine coughed and he reached back. Now, what I read, the guy had a pair of channel locks because the fuel selector valve was bent or didn't work or came off or something. And he reached back to switch that tank over to the tank that had fuel. And when he did, he kicked the rudder, left or right rudder, and it rolled upside down. And when you're that low, you don't have enough altitude to recover, and crashed in the ocean. It was a home built that had been modified. And once again, if he'd have been in a certified airplane, you wouldn't have been allowed to have a fuel valve there. It had been where it was supposed to be, where you could reach it and you don't reach back and kick a rudder. It's all part of the certification process. That's a perfect example. That's too bad. His dad was a captain for either United or American. I know a guy that actually gave him dual at flight safety. He had a type rating in a Learjet, and he was a pretty accomplished pilot, but a major drinking problem that he constantly had trouble with. Oh, wow, pulled the wings off it, yeah. Yeah, it can pull the wings off it. You know, I tried that aerobatic shit, but I just didn't like it. I got sick all the time. Now, Bob Hoover says he got sick all the time, too, when he started, and then he ends up being like the, greatest pilot in the world. I talked to him one time. I met him at a private party in Kissimmee, Florida. It's really interesting. And you talk to anybody about Bob Hoover, they'll say he's like the most gifted, greatest pilot ever. Super good guy. Heavy duty alcoholic, too. It got so bad with him after a while that they, usually when you're an air show like star like him, they rent you a free rental car, and they quit doing it for him because he kept piling them up. Good guy though. And then the FAA started fucking with him. They took away his medical, and he ended up getting it back. But there was not much fanfare when Bob Hoover died. It's weird. Speaking of that, you go on YouTube. They've got these videos of people that died in 2024, and I watched it. Man, there's a bunch of people died. I didn't even realize they died. Go watch it. You won't believe it. Like some people, how did I not catch this? Well, one reason is I don't watch TV, but I thought I would have got it. And I really unsubscribed from a lot of these news alerts and shit. They drive you fucking crazy. All this stupid bullshit about murders, and I could care less about Hollywood celebrities. Oh yeah, Colorado mountains are good. Yeah, they're beautiful. Love that. They don't open up till late either. That's the highest mountain peak there. They got a sign. It's like 10,500 feet tall or something like that. Yeah, it's fun out there. Yeah, it's nice. If you like mountains and stuff, I've been to all the national parks in the winter, and I've been to quite a few of them in Canada. Go to the Canadian Rockies sometimes, up around Banff. Their highway system goes through there. It's not like a private park like we have. Beautiful. Go up to Banff, and The granddaddy of them all, and it's getting crowded. Now you have to make a reservation, is Glacier National Park. And Crater Lake's great too. Yellowstone, geologically, it's cool, but it's not like beautiful. I've been to all of them. Arches, all the ones on the East Coast. I think most of them are like so-so. I don't like that rocky Yosemite stuff. Although a lady told me when I went on the house tour in Washington that there's nothing like spring out around Tucson and Flagstaff in the ocean, in the spring, in the desert. So I do want to catch a spring in the desert. Evidently, these blooms for these cactus are really like gorgeous. Check that out. Thank you, Callie. That's a good discount. Yeah, he was a good guy, John Denver. Yeah, you get brainwashed. He wrote that song about his first wife, Annie. He got lucky too. I went to a couple of his things at Olympia in Detroit, showing film strips, kind of like on a slide projector, slideshow. It shows you how things have changed. Olympia in Detroit. John Dusseldorf is his real name. John Dusseldorf. Deader than hell. You could say alcohol ruined his life. Certainly didn't help it. But that alcoholism, it's a brain disease. The disease of the brain. Disease of your brain. You just never are satisfied. You just drink till you like pass out and stuff like that. Oh my God, so many. Well, I got so many books. I don't even know. I don't want to count them. I don't want to admit that I have that many. There's a green nail spa over there. Lens crafters. These malls are dropping off left and right. Even in nice places like Ann Arbor, Briarwood Mall. That opened in 73 or 74. Al Taubman built it. I remember going up there because I hitchhiked to Mexico. I went all the way up there. Well, not all the way, 30 miles. It's the closest place to buy a tent and sleeping bag. Camper's World was the name of the place. I got a lot of books. The mental illness, the beat goes on. All right, you guys. Well, I'll maybe talk to you later. So you have a good day today. Party on. See you, Susan. Bye, Faye. See you, Callie. You rock on. Party.